do these things, you will be successful. And it's just what we're looking to build you to. We can take any guy, I take you, no matter where you're at right now, and I can build you here in the next 3 to 5 years to a $3 to $5 million a year company with $1 million to the bottom line. Hey, plumbing pros, welcome to the 458th episode of Potty Talk. I'm your host, Richard Bainey, the $1 Million Plumber, along with my co-host, the lovely Laura, where we're talking the business of plumbing, how to build a thriving, self-sustaining, and very profitable plumbing business while having a life too.
Ooh,
and
important.
that is key. That is so key, all right? In fact, in this episode, we're going to be sharing some $1 Million Plumber transformations. Okay, we've been being asked to, I share some success stories. And we talk about the Success Academy. And so, okay, you have the Success Academy. So, share some stories, of successes.
Yes.
Well, I feel a little self-serving doing that. But I'm proud because now we've been doing this for, how many years? We'll tell the story a little bit, about 7 years or whatever. So now we have hundreds. We have success stories. We have stories.
We do.
Okay, so we're going to share some of those. Okay, coming right at you here in just a moment. But before we do that, before I forget, hey, I want to thank our sponsor to your success. Are you looking for a way to show appreciation to your customers? Look no further than To Your Success, the leading gifting service for plumbing businesses nationwide. Imagine this. After every service call, your customers receive a delightful gift like freshly baked cookies right at their doorstep. To Your Success makes it easy to automate this process, ensuring your customers feel valued and appreciated every single time. But it's not just about gifts. It's about creating memorable experiences that shape how your customers feel about your plumbing company. With To Your Success, you can turn every interaction into an opportunity for connection and loyalty. So, if you want to enhance your customers' relationships and stand out in the competitive plumbing market, visit milliondollarplumber.com/cookie today. Join us in making customer appreciation a priority and watch your business thrive. That's milliondollarplumber.com/cookie. There we go. To Your Success. Cool stuff there. Okay, very important. All right, make that part of your process.
Yeah.
All right, check them out. milliondollarplumber.com/cookie. All right, because their cookies are so
yummy.
They're so good.
So yummy.
And it does. You do that for your customers, okay? It says something about you, okay? We're trying to make this an experience, okay? Not just a transaction.
Not just a transaction. Right.
All right.
To your success.
To your success. So there we go, okay? All right. Hey, some $1 Million Plumber transformations. Now, yes, I do feel a little self-serving. For one reason, I never thought we would do this in the first place. Okay, we had our plumbing business. I've been in and around plumbing for over 40 years. Okay, and then we had our plumbing business. We've heard the stories.
Attaboy Plumbing.
Attaboy
out of
Plumbing.
Indianapolis, Indiana.
All right, pushing a little over 18 years. Okay, so we had our own business, so we've been doing this for a while. And then when we finally, in fact, I never expected to sell our plumbing business. Okay,
In the beginning, we definitely didn't think about
We're just
that.
milking the cow. We finally got it. We did get it to where it was systemized and just kind of running. We could travel, doing this we're just milking the cow. Okay. And in fact, we even lived out of country for a while. Okay. I mean, it provided that. Okay. And so it's, we didn't expect to sell, but when we all of a sudden we became got a little bidding war going, and a big bag of money. We decided to take the money and run. Okay. And we were done. Okay, at that time we decided we were done. In fact, I'll share, one of our stories I'll share, it's a similar kind of story. They were finally done, and so they decided to sell. Done. We were kind of same kind of way. We were done. And the money was, good, big, multi-million, enough. And so let's take the money and run, okay? And we thought we were done with plumbing and plumbers altogether. Okay, so we're just living our life, doing our thing. And there's only and here's the thing, only so much you can play, okay?
Well, and then we did start another business that didn't go so well. So there's that.
We did start, right.
There's that.
Just because I was a plumbing genius, doesn't mean... Right. Okay.
That's right. We're entrepreneurs at heart. Attaboy wasn't the first business that we ever had either.
Oh yeah, we've had other businesses have done well. Some haven't. Okay.
Yes.
And then so the bottom line is we were being asked, how'd you go from where you were with your plumbing business to where you are now?
Clueless.
Where you wound up. Where should that apply?
Right.
We know you're stupid.
You guys are so dumb.
We saw what you were doing at the beginning. So how did all of a sudden
you yahoos figure out? So that's when actually Potty Talk was launched. Potty Talk was launched on February 14th, 2018. That was the very first episode of Potty Talk. And really at the time, we weren't even thinking coaching. And it was just more kind of giving advice, things like that.
Right.
But then we started getting asked, hey, would you coach me? Would you whatever? So that's how we got into coaching, and we got into building the online academy, Success Academy.
And that was the whole thing, not to talk plumbing, okay? In fact,
Right.
we're one of the originals to talk just the business, okay? In fact, I'd say I'm the $1 Million Plumber is the original on the business side of things.
Talking the business of
Business
plumbing.
of plumbing.
And original when we're talking husband and wife owning a plumbing business. I know that I'm not sure if anybody else that really focuses on husband and wife. Now, we've got a lot of people in the academy that isn't a husband and wife team, but for some reason we tend to draw the husband and wives in. So.
Right, and there were other companies out there that would give coaching or plumbing business for the trade, business advice for trades like Nexstar. But it was so expensive, and in my opinion, first of all, so expensive and just overkill. We get in really to be successful. It's really pretty simple. Okay, to be successful, and especially today. Yeah. And so we took that. It's like, well, we took a look at us, and I love, like, you've said this many times that one of our coaches, mentors, Rory Vaden.
One of our mentors, great guy, Rory Vaden, V-A-D-E-N, great guy to follow, motivational, all the things. He's got a great book, a couple great books. Anyway, one of his things that he says, which always kind of stuck with me, and that realized it was us. Rory says, you are most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. You're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. And that hit home with us, because and we'd been doing $1 Million Plumber for a little bit when we heard this, and we're like, that's it. $1 Million Plumber is serving the dummies, Richard and Laura, of 20 some years ago. That's who we're serving,
which is 98% of
correct
the companies out there.
Right. So because we have been successful, we did all the wrong things and then learned some things and put trainings or things into place and all of it. We are now most powerfully positioned to serve the person we once were, and so that's what $1 Million Plumber is all about. $1 Million Plumber is serving the husbands and wives, but also plumbing business entrepreneurs who have a dream and a vision for having a successful plumbing business, but really just don't know how, because that was us.
Right.
And so it has become a passion of ours, because we've seen so many transformative changes in the lives and of these people that get into MDP and how it affects their family. And we know it's generational changes. I mean, we experienced it.
So that's how we looked at it. Where were we? And so we took, like, who could we serve? And it's like, it's who we were, just basic people out here. We don't come from money.
Neither one of us went to college.
Or even or how to even.
Well, you went for a year.
I went for a couple of years. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I didn't hold my attention. I had to go, I was going in the evenings and that kind of stuff. We're saying we didn't come from the normal whatever, okay? And I never finished because I wanted to start do my own thing, okay? And so it's just like everyone, most guys I run into and talk to, okay? It was just, you find out you're pretty good at this, and you decide you want to start your own business, plumbing business, but you don't know the business, and that's and that's who we're talking about here. Everyone we had that become multimillionaires and successful, you have to realize, I don't know something.
Right.
Okay, it ain't about plumbing. Okay, and so you realize, if you're one listening,
because plumbing,
and you feel like, hey, I'm good at plumbing, but there must be something I don't know, and it has to do with probably on the business side. If you've got that thought in your mind, you're going to be successful.
Yes.
Because you realize, I don't know something. The good news is it's simple. The bad news is it's not easy. Okay, because you got to make these changes. The ones who see that will make the changes will do exactly what we tell them to do. You do these things, you will be successful. And it's just what we're looking to build you to. We can take any guy. I can take you, no matter where you're at right now, and I can build you here in the next 3 to 5 years to a $3 to $5 million a year company with $1 million to the bottom line, and set you up perfectly to sell for a 3, 5, 10 multiple, depending on on your situation. Okay, and what does that mean by multiple? You're making doing $5 million a year, even at a 3 multiple, you're selling at $15 million.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what private equity companies are doing right now.
Okay. 25, 30 million. Okay. So simple to do. Okay. Yep. But you gotta understand these things and know these things. So that's what we brought, and we saw, and that's been the joy. Okay. That we see that we bring we've made all the mistakes. So that's what $1 Million Plumber is all about. Is look, first of all, with the name, I just came up with $1 Million Plumber. You're going to be more, but it's just a round number. And a lot of times, just how if I can just make $1 million, I'll be good. And so it's just fun. So that's how I came up with it, $1 Million Plumber. But you're going to be much more. I want you to be bigger. In fact, they're having clients right now that are bigger the company than I had, and they're selling for more than what I sold for. Okay,
And
I
we
love
that.
that.
We love
That is the joy at this stage of my life. We don't need to do this, or what I mean. It's the joy is this for those that are hungry and will do it. Okay, and to see your lives change. So we're going to share maybe a couple stories. We're now fortunate to have literally hundreds, which is fun. But to share, to give you an idea. See if you see yourself in these stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to share some things on Facebook? I'm going to do this real quick, and this might be a little clunky, guys. But I want to share. Let's see, a couple things. Let me get here. We go. So this was a recent post that someone had posted, and let me scroll down from a member. His name's Luke. Hey, Luke. And he said that he comes from new construction and he's transitioning to service because that's what we teach in the academy, right? And it's really scary.
That's a common story. Yeah.
Right, really scary. He's more of an introvert, etc. Anyway, it's a blessing to have MDP program to know how and what to do to running a plumbing service business, but also be a part of the Facebook group to get to ask questions, etc. And I want to come down to one of the comments, which was Joe had responded back, and he said, welcome. You made the right choice by joining MDP. So many great people here in the same boat. I did a lot of new construction, too, and commercial work. I'm now, this is a point I wanted to make, I'm just now getting started with MDP, and I'm bringing in more than double of what I was making before just by implementing their proven systems. Best of luck to you and your business. So, man, you got to love that, right?
I love that.
Love that.
And I love that he expressed here that he, being a little scared, and that's guys, that's a real feeling, and that's okay. Okay, being a little scared. But I love Joe. Literally, we see it time and time again. And even just even the first module, just starting out with, we see guys double, even triple what their average ticket is and their monthly income. All right, it is that simple. You just got to do these things. I saw one of the names of the respondents was Craig Fawkes, and Craig Fawkes, I just want to say, he's the first. He's our first member,
very first Success Academy member,
and he's still with us. Today.
Yes, and they're multi-million-dollar plumbing business.
He started with, I can see the picture of him in a pickup truck, and just the truck is trash. It's heaped up in the back with all the kind of stuff, and it's a picture of him.
But they really are the poster children because their lives and their children's lives has completely changed.
So the academy, he was one of the first when we had the academy.
He was the first.
The first. No, not one of. Sorry, Craig. I got to give him the respect.
He's the first.
The first. And what was that? 5 years ago?
Seven, right? 2019. So so 6. Yeah.
Yeah, and still with it, and 'cause he gives back. But that's Jack and Jill Plumbing.
Jack and Jill Plumbing.
Multi-truck, multi-million.
Rochester, New York.
They go someplace every month. They travel every month. Okay, you still have us on Facebook?
I do have us on Facebook here, so now I'm going to hopefully be able to scroll this. I knew this would be a little.
So those that are watching the video, we're still on Facebook. If you're listening to the podcast, we're just talking about. We're looking at the Facebook here.
Right. Let's see here. Kind of talk amongst yourselves here. Baby.
Okay. Are we having trouble pulling? Oh, okay. Yep. Well, I just love again, the response that even with Joe here, even just starting out of doubling, and it is that simple, but it's knowing the right things to do.
Right. So here's another Brandon posted, list one thing you have learned from being a part of MDP. And thank you, Brandon, for posting that. And let's see, Eric has said, if you can't charge what your business needs to charge, you can't afford to be in business. Yeah. Yes. Right. And Brandon said, I discovered that by shifting your mindset and perspective and understanding that you don't need to handle everything on your own, and you become a more successful business person, owner, and leader. As Richard would say, we are eagles. Love that.
Yes.
Let's see, what else? I learned that I need to be charging double what I was charging before joining MDP. 9 out of 10 plumbing companies in my area charge the same exact prices. I'm guessing they don't have the hourly rate calculator.
Yes.
That's true.
They're struggling. Don't. And that was Joe who said,
the last post.
The last post that even just starting out, he's doubling.
Yep.
And this comes down to just charging what you need to charge.
Yep. And
And
then,
customers pay, so
Correct.
he's making double, so that means customers are paying.
right.
All right.
Yep. Let's see. That coaching is absolutely the main ingredient to success. Thank you, MDP. This one's my favorite. This one is actually my favorite. Travis says, every day I'm learning that Richard and Laura were and are right.
Okay, I gotta meet Travis. All right.
No, I know. Travis and they're Pine and Dandy, isn't
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, Travis. Sorry, yeah.
And Jessica, his wife. Yep. Let's see. Both
I'm
says,
sorry. There's so many.
I know.
I want to remember.
They're like kids.
I don't
Okay,
mean
we've
to
got too
insult
many kids to remember all their names. Bo says, keep your head right. Most of your problems actually come from bad thinking, as well as most of your successes come from thinking right. Lance,
was right on.
Lance, great question. Without your daily GPS, you're just running around in circles. And we just did
talk
an
about
episode
that?
on Potty Talk about your GPS.
Yes.
Sasha says that raising your prices makes both parties happier.
Okay, think about that. And that's a statement right there. So, raising your prices makes both parties happier. What do we think he means by that? I mean, of course, with us, you're making more money. You actually paying the bills. But see what I say? The customers actually trust that. They trust it more,
Right.
Because there must be something there. Customers don't want cheap. They don't want to feel cheap.
Right.
Now, no one wakes up in the morning and wants to call a plumber, and no one wants to spend money on plumbing, but they don't want to feel cheap.
Right. Let's see. This isn't where we die. This is a statement we tell our clients all the time. This is not the point that you're going to die. And so you can see some of the other customers here. Fall forward, recruit. Those are some great comments.
Yes, I love that. I love seeing the participation there and whatever, but just the positive things. And I know if you can't find any, maybe we should have some of the negative things we see on the ads and stuff. I know the team tells me, the marketing guys say that, Richard, some people say some pretty silly things, like who is this guy? Who is this wanker? That kind of stuff. So I know you think that when we're in this time, because even have shared those stories with me when we meet on the retreats or the outings and that kind of stuff, and I get to meet you. I love that. I'll hear, because now they say, hey, when I first saw you online, I thought you were full of it. Okay, so it is so fun that once they see, after hearing and listening, and maybe this is you listening and you've been watching for time here, do I trust this guy? And I get it. All right, there's a lot out there not to trust, and whatever. But it's so fun to see that those that you feel like that, and these guys have felt the same similar way, and then they come in here and they get immediate success.
Yep. Okay, here's where we're always asking for your wins for the month. And then here's one with the DeHavens out of Charleston. They put up a brand new billboard, which is like right in the heart of where their Mrs. Jones travels. We purchased another van. We bought our first van. Those are the ones we always love. We bought our first vans, Dylan Emery. Love that. Terega says, biggest month so far, even with the last week, which was a horrible week, worst week. I call that a win. Love that. And then Chris Vaza, we just closed out with a record week in revenue. Lance Ford, we just bought our very first Mercedes vans. We're switching to them. One, because it makes a statement and it allows us to keep more stock. Love that. These are the kind of things that the wins that these guys post are incredible.
I love seeing that. And it just makes it, I guess, on personal level, just what brings me joy. I just know that just doing these simple things. I like, they're simple, but they're not easy. I say this in a brochure. We say all the good things. By doing these simple things, you can have a thriving, self-sustaining, which means it's able to run itself, very profitable plumbing business. But you got to do these things, okay? And some guys won't do it. Like the switch from new construction to service is scary, and charging different and those kinds of things. And if some guys won't make the change. But to be successful, that's why we say you're sitting on a gold mine. It's right there,
So this is from Joseph. He said, it works. Well, I'll be damned. LOL. After implementing what Christine and I have learned, his wife, so far with MDP, and we've had our best week in 7 years.
So they've been a plumber. So he's had his business for
at least 7 years. Yeah. Almost hitting 20,000 with one tech running calls. Future is bright. We're getting our why together because we deserve better. Richard and Laura have been a blessing. Wish we could have found MDP in the beginning.
I love hearing that. Way to go, Joe. All right. that's a story, you know, we hear that time and time again. And I say that not to brag. I say that I want for you, man, that look, if you have this dream, you've been struggling, look, for 7 years, and with one guy he made 20. So that means he's still small, but you know, growing. Look, if you have it in your mind that you're looking for freedom and, you know, financial security for you and your family, and you have a life, certain kind of life and vision. If you have a plumbing business, you can do it, but you have to know the right things, and it's on the business side.
This is another one of my favorites, even though it's a couple years old now. Christmas came early this year for us. Finally got our first truck back with a new wrap. Wouldn't be here without the help of MDP. Can't wait for this next chapter. And I just love this because it's a lovely couple, lovely young couple. Man, I get it. Baby on the hip, right?
That's how we start, right?
That was
the
us,
youngins,
right? And
like that, and a dream.
But they're starting out even better. They're starting out way better.
Young, right, smarter. And that's what we want for you guys, all of you. And we want you to be bigger, badder, stronger, smarter, you know, just all of it. And it can be, okay? And that's just all we're offering here. You know, I get out, you know, the thought is, you know, what's this guy's agenda or whatever. Look, I've made all these mistakes. It's just a way of giving back. It's fun. It brings us joy. I love seeing you succeed. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Here's one newer couple, and you guys know how we preach date night, right? Date night all the time, and it sinks in with most of them, which is kind of nice. This is Jenna Lynn and her husband. She said, today was my first time as a full-time PPC.
Huh.
Right? Let me see if I can get back to the thing. There we go. There we go. And getting to be a stay-home mommy with our 2 beautiful boys. Date night to celebrate this new chapter. So they were feeling a little under the weather. But this is a huge step, right? And within our group, we talk all the time, and date night, right. Post the pictures, and I could share a million of those as well. But this is a lovely couple here that's a big deal, leaving a full-time job, right? Which you think is security and all the things, right? But they've started, they're a PPC now, working on the business together.
And this is our couple. This is why we do what we do.
When we talk about avatars, guys, this would be an avatar.
Young family like that, getting started. That guy can relate to you. I don't know who you are, but I am you. We were that age, you know. We're maybe not as well. I wasn't as good looking as you at that age, man. Okay, you know, and to just see you already getting this and doing that right now, it's just, I love that. I love that for you and your kids and your family, your tribe.
Yep.
You know, and that's
why we do it.
That's why we do it. Look, if this is the goal of MDP, okay, and the Success Academy, is to get you to a $3 to $5 million a year company, you know, somewhere between 7, 12 trucks. That's all you need. It's easy to run. Simple to run, and it throws off cash, huge cash, get $1 million to the bottom line. You're making money, you can come and go. If it does get out of whack a little bit, which because it's run by people and it's a thing, you know, it's man-made, so, but it's easy just to whip it right back in. It's easy to catch it if it's getting out of, you know, sliding a little bit, okay? All right? And then you're going to turn around, you're going to sell it to one of these big companies because we create a little machine, and you're going to wind up selling, you know, for 20, 30 million, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Or if you want, keep it because it's against the cash cow.
Just cash cow.
Totally up to you. But getting to where you live the life that you want to live, right? We say it all the time: design your life first, and then design the business around that. Figure out what you want with your life first. That's why things like date night and planning meetings and those things are so important. But planning what you want your life to look like first, and then attacking your business, plan your business around that. So it's not the other way around, where your business is dictating what your life looks like.
You can do it, guy. Man, you can do it. I'm an office guy, not the sharpest, you know, tool in the shed. All right, and so I get it. The idea of being a little nervous about being in, you know, I'm not, you know, I want to do that and that kind of. Look, it doesn't have to be complicated. And so if you're looking for complicated, there's other things like Nexstar and whatever that make things complicated. And if it makes you feel good, do that. That's fine.
Or you're wanting to grow your plumbing company to 20, 30, 50 trucks.
Right.
Which is fine. There's a need for those kind of trucks out there, and that's totally fine. But again, you got to figure out what you want first. Right. You and if you're married, you and your wife, man, really figure out, what do we want? Do we want a 50 truck company? Do we want to grow it to that big? Maybe. So you guys need to be on the same page. You don't. We're telling you.
No, you don't.
Don't know why. Right. But it's totally up to you. But having the conversation, what do we want? And then then you know what you're working for, and it's manageable. It's just manageable.
We have stored, eventually that's what we're about, is to eventually down the road here that you sell. Okay, we don't mention that right up front. Every business should be set up to sell anyways. That's part of a business. A business needs to be set up to sell, business. Like it's moving towards something, and that's what a business ultimately, it's capitalism is meant to sell. Okay, it's not a not-for-profit. It's not a hobby.
Right.
Okay, and so you set it up to sell anyways. So it has to be that way, and so that's what we're setting up these systems to make you a little money machine to ultimately do that. Okay, and we've had some already in the year. We've already had some even sell. One of our, one of the originals. I remember. I'm thinking of Route 66 Plumbing, which is a cool name. Which is one thing we work on branding. They weren't Route 66. So here's a common story you may relate to. It was DJ Plumbing or something like that. It was their initials.
I don't remember what it was.
Or something like that, which is common.
Real common, yeah.
Okay, him in a truck.
New construction.
New construction. Right, do some service because you get the calls, but new construction. Him in a truck, maybe another guy. I think a brother or something. So that kind of thing, there's a lot of that out there. We reached out, MDP, became Success Academy, got the coaching, everything there. All right. Sold the business. Wound up changing the name, Route 66. All of a sudden, everyone's calling. They're seen everywhere.
A great brand.
And they were one, I think I mentioned that. They were one that was done with plumbing. They could have built it a little bit bigger and even could have gotten more, but they still made multi-millions. What they turned around and some, made good money. All right. But they got out and got it. Okay. I'm thinking of another couple we have. What was it? Mountaineer Plumbing of Michigan. Okay. All right. We're doing, they were struggling. Okay. Him in a truck, in fact, pulling a trailer behind him, doing that. Can you relate to that? Doing remodel, that kind of stuff. Okay. Family struggling. Had like 4 kids under the age of 4. All right. I think they were raising chickens. He talked about he'd butcher the chickens at night so he wouldn't get in trouble with the neighborhood, whatever, that kind of stuff. Do whatever can, making ends meet, working to be successful. Wound up,
selling his for a lot of money. We're just going to say a lot of money.
A lot of money, because it can be different, but multi-millions. Okay, a lot of money. Okay,
and we know. With these stories, we know it's because of the training that they got through the Success Academy. Again, this is not to toot our own horns. All these guys and gals, they still need to do the work. We didn't go there and do the work for them.
That's right.
But they bought into the Success Academy and MDP, and then did the things that we talk about and that we train on, and that changes. It's wealth that changes your lives.
Well, it's the knowledge. I'm thinking of Jared Williams. Jared Williams is out there. Well, he'd failed. Listen to his story. He failed twice before starting a plumbing business.
Right.
Reached out to MDP, reached out to me, coach, got the coaching, all that. Wound up having, even he tells a story because he has himself out there as he's my student, all right? He's an apprentice. So he's out there, as a wealthy plumber. But he was, we got him to where it was just him in a truck. Finally got him multi-guys. The area was hard to, serves the North Pole. It's up there in the middle of nowhere. It's a big thing. I can't charge that, and I can't find any guys. We have him charging over $500 an hour and getting it every day. And they had guys working for him. He's having over $500,000 a month and wound up selling his plumbing business.
He did. And I think he has it out there that he sold it for $5 million.
Right,
and so with that, again, he says, he failed twice before. He failed had two other plumbing businesses. Now, what he doesn't mention, I think, an awful lot in his whatever he's got online, doesn't mention that how on the third time what was different. Well, the difference was MDP, and he'd been with MDP for about 3 years, and we went through the Success Academy and the coaching and all that. That's the difference. Again, still had to do the work, just like these other families that we talk about. These other mostly husbands and wives. They still had to do the work. They still had to struggle with implementing these new things and learning new things and dealing with all the same things you guys are dealing with. But they had a program that is proven. It's a proven program. We've proved it, and now we have hundreds of others that have proved it. That it is a great strategy to use. So
if you're at a point right now, and I think more importantly mentally, you may be at the point where you are struggling. I'm sure you are struggling. Okay, if you can't leave your business for a week without taking a call or doing whatever, you're struggling.
Yeah, without it coming off the rails.
You don't have a plumbing business. Okay, you got to get it right, and you can. Right. But it's more important mentally. So you may be there and realize you're there, but mentally, if you're in a place where you're tired of it and you know that there's more for you. You hear me say, like I ended the Potty Talks, you're purposefully, wonderfully created, and you were created to do great things. All right? So it's very, very, very possible. Whatever you have in your mind, when you think quietly that you want to create this and you want this kind of lifestyle, it can be done. But you just need to know the right things to do, okay? Can you figure it out? Sure. But it can cost you a lot of time and money, okay?
Just like it did us.
Right. I've already spent the time and the money. All right, you can benefit from that. If you want to learn more, let's have a conversation. Okay, well, let's have a basic conversation. Find out what your plumbing business is, okay? What's standing in your way, and then give you a plan to get over that. And we may mention, Success Academy. If you find out it's right and you're asking about it, you'll learn also about the Success Academy, okay? But it all starts with a call, okay? Started with a call with Jared, okay? It's that basic, all right? Simply go to milliondollarplumber.com/call, CALL.
Guys, that's what we want for you. As I know we said this in the beginning, this really is a passion for us, and it's become a passion. Again, we had no idea, even when you did the very first Potty Talk, never dreamed that we'd be doing what we're doing now and changing the lives that we're changing. But that's what that just gives us so much joy in being able to watch these young families and these young entrepreneurs strive and grasp and dream, for one, start dreaming, but then to start achieving the dreams that they have. Man, it brings us so much joy, and that's what we want for you, to stop the struggling. If you're watching this, you're like, man, I am tired of struggling. Have a call. It doesn't hurt to have a call. Right. What's the saying? If change nothing, and nothing changes. So do you want to be in this place this time next year? We're already at, I'm not sure when this is coming out, probably March or April of 2025. I can't even believe it's this far into the year. Is this where you want to be, or wherever you might be watching this 3 years from now? Do you want to be in the same exact spot that you are right now?
This time next year.
This time next year. More than likely, if you're struggling, more than likely you're saying, no, I don't. I'm tired of this. And it's almost like I give. I can't do this on my own. And so I do need to get help. And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. And there's nothing wrong with getting help, especially on something you don't know and you don't know business. You know plumbing, but you don't know business. That's what $1 Million Plumber Success Academy is all about. Help us help you.
Right. And so if you've watched more than one Potty Talk or seen any other pieces of mine, you've kind of been
stalking, lurking.
Right. It's time to get off the pot. Okay, you know the saying? It's time to get off the pot. And this is your first time meeting. Okay, you may check it out later.
We'll give you another episode or two.
All right? But if you've been lurking, all right, because you've been lurking thinking, is it possible? Can I? Yes, you can if you decide. Just do it. Okay, this is the time. It's never been a better time. Our whole what's happened politically, certainly here in the U.S., and everything that's going on for business, and even now that big money's looking to eventually, in the next 5 to 7 years, plumbing company. It's like, I want to start another plumbing company.
No, we're not doing that.
It's because that's what they're looking for. It's better than real estate.
We'll live vicariously through these guys.
Right. Well, I need to find a way to get a piece. Man, I'm buying to your company. There we go. Okay. Okay.
Some of you might sell it for $1 today. I get it. There were many days where we're like, anybody want to buy this? It's $1. Give me $1 and I'm out.
No, I want to buy in, so just have a little piece and help get you there, and then when you sell out for the big,
or sell, not sell out.
Well, not sell out. No.
Sell up.
So definitely. All right.
All right. So
it is generational. You're sitting on a gold mine.
Yes.
Generational, life-changing wealth.
Absolutely.
Wealth, financial and time. Okay, and time wealth. All right. $1milliondollarplumber.com/call. Look forward to
go
speaking.
there.
Okay,
so we're done tooting our own horn. That was it.
Yes.
But we're really tooting the horn of other people that we highlight, and we're just so excited, and we love watching that the posts that we get in our
because they do
Facebook
it. They're getting up every day.
Right.
You still got it. You still got to get up. You got to know the systems. All right, know the right system, right number, but you got to do it. Okay. Yep. And sometimes jobs go south. There's always problem customers. It's life, right?
Yep.
Kids get sick. All right, but they're doing it. All right. It's time for you to do it. All right, there we go. Hey, it's good spending time with you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. As always, you were purposefully and wonderfully created, and you were created to do great things. To plumb like a champion.
Bye, everybody.